Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Rock Bottom. I'm here in Picton, New Zealand, staying at this incredible hostel, and I was just so inspired by the owner. And I wanted to change things up a little bit different. So instead of like just kind of sitting in one place, I followed her around as she was cleaning up and overturning. And today we're walking around with Shera, who is from New York, lived there for a while, then sailed around the world and came to Picton with her Kiwi husband, and they bought a hostel together. And, I'm really starting to love hostels, and I love this idea of it being another career track. And honestly, as someone who stayed at a lot of nice hotels, like when I worked in consulting and had crazy points that I could use from and just stay at the Ritz-Carlton in Tokyo, no problem. I gotta admit, you'd think I would want more luxury as I'm getting older, but I actually prefer just being around people, sharing a bunk bed. If you think about it, like a bunk bed in a hostel is still a nicer bed than you get in a first class suite on an airline. So, when I think about it that way, I'm like, oh, I'm in like I'm in like the best first class bed there is. And, and then you get to just have this serendipity of meeting people. Anyway, I find this episode really inspiring. It's really just about finding people who have interesting stories, who are doing things that are off the beaten path and who are living life differently than how we've been told that we need to live life. Because honestly, I think a lot of the times we're in rock bottoms because we have these crazy expectations of ourselves from parents and the society around us that we just don't fit into. And then two, we're spending a lot of time on our phones. Our screen time is off the charts. And when your screen time is off the charts and you're scrolling, you're literally just seeing content of people living their best lives, their curated lives. And it just kind of makes you feel like, oh, well, what am I doing? But in the back of your head, even if you're doing this subconsciously, it's like you're almost comparing yourself all the time and thinking like that's the way to be, because that's what we do. Like when we were in tribes of 50 people, it made sense to compare yourself because we're all living the same human life. Like, oh, this is how I fish, and I should learn how to fish. I should learn how to cook the fish. But when it's now on a global scale, of course you're not going to be like a supermodel who lives in Paris, or the Wall Street banker who's going to whatever island all the time, or just some drop shipper. Like there's too many things out there to compare yourself against. So sometimes you just got to do the thing that's like, you got to sit with yourself and just find that inner soul thing. And if that's just living on a sailboat, if that's just moving halfway across the world and opening a hostel, that's what it is. And what's really cool is the happiest people I'm meeting along my travels are people who are just doing whatever the fuck they want. And, of course, you got to be fiscally responsible. And, there's the parts of life that you got to iron out. But usually that stuff just works itself out when you're actually aligning yourself with what's important. It's when we're hard on ourselves or beating ourselves up or just like hating on ourselves that things get tough. So anyway, welcome to this episode of Rock Bottom that is not fully edited. We do talk in a laundry room at some point. There's a bit of walking around, so the audio might be whatever, but just hang out. And thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. And if you have an interesting story, reach out. And anyone who's looking to collaborate on this podcast, like you want to be an editor or a producer, or you want to interview people, I think we should just make Rock Bottom like an open source platform where people just share good stories of doing things differently. So with that, welcome to this latest episode. Well, thanks for agreeing to chat. I find you really inspirational because when I was in school, I was a residence assistant. You know what that is?
Yeah, yeah.
And it was my favorite job. And then I also worked in the exchange office.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like working in a hostel is like the best of both of those two, where you get to create this sense of home and community for people who are traveling.
Yep. And that's exactly right. Yes.
Just kind of seeing you in your elements, especially you traveled so much. You've been all over the world. You're mentioning like you were in Belize and
well, we sailed here. Yeah. So we got to sail to New Zealand. So that meant that we did cover a few billion miles of blue water. And
where did you all sail from?
We purchased our vessel in South Carolina. Yes, we did. And we did a shakedown to the Bahamas. And came back to boat problems.
Boat problems?
Believe it or not. I mean, yeah, well, the acronym for boat is break out another 1,000. Because things break. And then the hub, being a Kiwi boy coming back to New Zealand, was a no-brainer. And he liked the South Island better. And Picton and a place for a boat, so that made a lot of sense. And then he said, "Oh, why don't we get a hostel?" And I'm thinking, great, I can do loos and clean laundry. You are so good to me. But it
Can I help
is
you carry anything? By the
no,
way?
no, 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 no. Just do it.
All right, put me to work. Too.
Yeah, but it is a living UN, and every day is new, and it's magic. It just is. It's a lot. There is the happy side of everything, and everything's great, but then there's this side, and this
Yeah.
gets to be really humbling in a way. So I call myself the Empress of Atlantis, because if I'm going to be doing this, I'm having a title worthy. And Empress comes close. So shall we dance?
Yes.
Yeah? Ready?
Day of the life of running a hostel. So before you started sailing, you're originally from New Jersey, right?
New York, darling.
New York.
New York, yeah.
Where in New York?
Mohegan Lake, 10547, Lower Westchester County.
Oh,
About an hour
Westchester
north of
County.
town. Yeah, about an hour north of the city. And then I got to live in D.C. and Arlington, Virginia, which was magic. It really was. That was an absolutely fabulous place to be. And then the hub got he worked for United Airlines. So we got to come to New Zealand for $30 because all you had to pay was airport tax, and we lived in this fabulous neighborhood, and that was amazing to me. So
cool.
because we had a newsletter in our neighborhood. Yes, we did. And my route was 3 blocks down and 3 blocks over, and the dog would come with me, and the cat's up on every porch and down. So it was a little parade, and we knew who was hosting the Christmas Carol potluck that year. And so we'd go to the house, and the host family would take our stuff and set it up, and then we'd go out and sing and come back, and we had 4th of July parades. If a car went through the hood at 2 a.m, did we call the cops? Zelda's having her baby. So we'd make nice things and put them in her fridge. That is everything. That's organic. It grows sweetly. I made my hub build me a dream house, so I had a tree house in the backyard. Wow. And so that's where all the kids were, of course. And a little pool thing and a slide, swings. I mean, it was wonderful. And we also painted our house 7 colors.
7 colors?
7. And when we went to go sell it, I'd hear a squeal of brakes. And I think, the dog, the kids, in that order, of course. I drive by your house when I have a bad day at work. It always makes me smile. Things like that, I really love. That's kind of like my form of anarchy. Just to give permission to smile.
I love that about your mentality, is that you're always in an upbeat mood. And it sounds like one thing you've always grounded yourself in, just from hearing your origin story, is just community. So like when you're living where you're just describing like having such a good relationship with the neighbors, and then here you're literally cultivating this UN of people who are traveling.
It's such a privilege to be able to do that too, isn't it? And what I also love about it is that you're a little kid again, of course, because it's all new. You've never been here before.
Yeah.
And so that means that you're looking up, you're looking around. You encounter not just the world around you, but the people in it as well. This is a very difficult little world a lot of times. It's awkward, but I think for the most part, as much as we can, the whole point has been to be as welcoming and as warm and as comfortable as possible, because a lot of what travel is too is not just what you see, but where you stay. And it's really important to me that what happens here is that you know that you're in New Zealand, you know that you're in Picton, and that you know by golly, you are in Atlantis. Because a lot of places that you go, you don't know where you are. It's all the same, the same, the same, the same.
Yeah, I
And
feel like everything is so
is,
cookie cutter these
oh
days.
God, it's awful.
And I'm sure you've seen, when was the last, I maybe even noticed it here, but in the US, it's like every store they're building,
Is
like a
it?
Starbucks, a Chipotle, they even all look the same now because this whole idea in commercial real
Yeah,
estate that,
everything. And it
yeah,
is just vile. It's not right. And I really love that here that is not what happens. Not one bit. And part of it is just the architecture of it all anyway, because it is such an awkward building as a building. But I've celebrated it. So got that whole maze. We're doing the story of the Minotaur of Crete. It's going to be a maze. It's
the
going to
story
be
tour of what?
the Minotaur of Crete story on
Oh,
those
yeah.
on that hall in there, and the guy who painted that Theseus, oh, he looks like he was peeled off the Sistine
Who
ceiling.
painted everything?
All these different people who've
So
come
just
in.
people contributing?
Yeah, the only original painting is the one of the food chain in the kitchen, the mermaid and the merman and all of that.
Yeah.
But everything else is new since we've been here.
Wow.
And oh my.
So did you buy the hostel as an existing hostel? And
Yeah, it was a hostel already.
Was it called Atlantis?
And it was already called Atlantis.
So you just doubled down on the Atlantis theme.
Well, you know, when we were first here too, everything was, all the rooms were named after fish, and why? So we named them after utopias because Atlantis was supposed to be a utopia, right? And then and when we were first here too, there were we got to keep going.
By the way, I just want to say I love your humor you've added to this place. Like, no backpacks, no shoes, no chainsaws.
Yeah. Well, you know, sometimes you had to be very specific. Yeah. So yes, it will come through the maze hallway. I mean, look at that. It's extraordinary. It's just extraordinary.
It is very Sistine Chapel.
Look at the
Like,
hands.
I can't believe someone painted that.
Yeah. Look at and he's paid so much attention to the light.
And it was just a traveler?
Yeah. And then another girl paid. This is from the throne room in Crete, this lion bird. And the detail in this is just heartbreaking. It's extraordinary. How do you do something so that you get that light blue and that red without mushing them? And I mean, and she did this freehand.
Wow.
I mean, oh my God. And I swear on moonlight night, they dance. They do.
And even like the eyes, like the perfect shell and the position.
Well, I couldn't wait to see what she was going to do with the eyes. And she said, "Can I use power?" Yes, that's great. Yeah, why not? So, yeah. Oh, I do this one too.
You know, I think we need more institutions like this because, you know, I think we're just losing our soul so much.
We are. We definitely are. And it's programmed and it's banged into you and la-di-da. And I mean, yeah. Oh no, a string broke. Oh, it's probably the E.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's always the E string. It always is.
So what are some of the memories from this room?
Well, actually, let's see. In here, we've got a lot of the stuff that where we traveled and we put stuff up here. And but a lot of this stuff is gifts from people. So for instance, let's see. So this map, that's puzzle map. God, it took them like 3 weeks to finish that thing.
How many pieces is it?
It's 1,000.
Wow.
And oh my God. So of course I had to get it framed. And that one too. And that one took them forever as well and that's all. What's fascinating, of course, is that there's a very particular piece of land that is not on that map. But those are all covers from National Geographic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is a pretty cool puzzle.
That looks like a hard puzzle.
Yeah, that was a really hard one too.
So straightforward.
And then this is from a guy who woofed here.
There's so many love letters.
Yeah, and you know what gets me too is that some of these are from people who were already home for like over a year.
Wow.
And then they took the time and trouble and the love to send a letter.
Wow.
That doesn't happen
You
very
don't see
often.
that at a Starbucks
No, you sure don't.
or at a Marriott hotel too.
No. Hey, I just have to run in here for a second.
So before you did the sailboat and were with your hubby who had flight benefits, which by the way, I used to work for an airline too. It's such a great job to have
It's wonderful.
if it can make sense for you.
Yeah.
Um, did you grow up like in an eclectic household, or
Oh,
was life ever
I
dull
was
or
a
boring for
very,
you?
that's a really good question. So, I think I was pretty damn lucky because I got a really good education. I did. And it was
Can I help with this?
well, maybe, I don't know. Let's see what we can do here. I got to make sure it's the right way. Hold on.
It's the other way.
And I had my parents, they were both artistic, which is always good. They were both, no, wrong way, Oregon. And they were both artistic. They both were ethical. And I've been thinking about that a lot, about ethics and how, and what that really means as a way of living your life, and integrity and and the willingness to wait. No. That's all right, sweetheart. Don't bother.
Oh,
It's okay.
sorry. You know, sometimes you
I
want to
know,
help, but
because
you end up making more effort.
yeah, sometimes it really
Yeah.
does. I mean, and as sweet as that is, it's and I think that I think for that I was very lucky. My dad, for instance, was a well, he was he sold lumber and had local lumber, and just above, just up the street was a Jesuit seminary, and they came into the lumberyard because they were doing Little Mary Sunshine as their production. And he said, "Oh, you guys don't have any money. Come on, I'll get you some lumber for your," because they needed to build sets, right? Well, he started to do lecture demonstrations in Jewish history and customs. And I was determined that I was going to marry a Jesuit because they were very handsome, they were very intelligent, and they were very funny. And they were fabulous people. And I really loved them. And then he went and did this everywhere in all the different churches and and at convents. And his whole thing was, let us meet one another without fear and find out who we are. And what a great way to grow up. I mean, it really truly was. And he did some very brave and wonderful things, my dad. He really did. with this, and that meant that I wasn't tunneled. I had a picture of cultures, of dance, of the music, of the food, of all, yeah, of different cultures, different ways that people think, but that the thread was, let us be good to each other. And I think that's a really good thing to grow up with. I really do.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I thought that was pretty cool. And yes, things about just just having good people do good things, and that's good enough. And that there's just too much. A lot of what's happening too is that preciousness is coming into everything, and that all the agendas and all the uh, all these. It's sort of like what happens with religion too, right? I mean, you've got Orthodox, Reform, Conservative. You've got Episcopalian, Presbyterian. I mean, then everybody Baptist and Evangelist and all of these, and everybody thinks that they're the ones who are right, you know.
Yeah.
and it just starts to get really exhausting, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's like it creates walls between each other.
And it does, and really, I have no patience with that, really, at all.
Was there ever a defining moment in your life, maybe some might call it a low point or a point where you just weren't feeling fulfilled, that maybe was kind of hard to go through, but when you went through it, it changed your perspective on how you view life and what you wanted out of life?
I don't, really, probably, but I couldn't tell you. I mean, I mean, because everybody goes through that, and that's the other thing too that's so fascinating. So one of the things that I had discovered. Okay, so you grow up and mom loved your brother better and la di da da, and then you have your own child, and you realize two things. One, you have the best person that has ever been on the planet at any. You think Shakespeare was it? Mozart? This is perfection. And then you realize that your parents felt that same way. Ooh, and you go, sorry, mom. I mean, it's
sorry, mom.
Yeah. I mean, and you can't. And the thing is that you can't know these things until they happen.
Yeah.
And people can tell you till everything that they know and how and why and blah blah blah, but it's not until you personally go through it that you go, aha. And that's what's so fascinating about life too, is that yes, you go through these things and there are these moments, and there are these traumas that happen when you're a kid that stay with you and haunt you, and I appreciate that. I mean, I really really do. But then you can fill that and move on. And what's sad is that a lot of people don't move on. And then you read about people like a Helen Keller, who couldn't be more compromised in so many human ways. Can't talk, can't hear, can't see. Miracles. I mean, and then you've got these people, oh my hand hurts. I mean, what is this obscene self-indulgence? And it's just, although that doesn't mean that it's not viable, but it's just, and everything gets so analyzed and overanalyzed and picked at, and then you've got these psychiatrists who are saying things about you do this to your kid. And I'm thinking, I heard these two shrinks talking about it, and it's like, don't you have kids of your own? Do you? This is what. That's just the whole life cycle that happens ad nauseum, ad infinitum. I mean, that's what happens. It just does. And every generation thinks that the one that's coming is horrible, and our parents tortured their parents, and we tortured ours, and our kids torture us, and until everything just sort of comes to a place of sweet, soft understanding. And that's how it is. It just is. And it's crazy to think that it's going to ever change, because it's not. It just won't. You have to know what it is.
It's interesting. We think our times are so unique, and in a way they are. I mean,
and of course they are.
Tech and whatever.
but they're also all the same.
Yeah.
And that's also so wonderful. I mean, no matter who you are, no matter what your no matter what your religion is, no matter what your political stance is, when that baby is born, because that's a good one to use, everybody kisses every little finger and every little toe. That's so universal and so fabulous. And that's what I want to care about a lot more than anything else. And yeah, so
Is there any ways that like you viewed yourself or life as you've gotten older and wiser, or maybe having kids that have maybe changed your perspective and made you okay with certain things that maybe you might have?
you know that's also a very, very good question, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people that could answer it a lot better than me, but the short answer is it's not really, because it's just part of the flow of things. So then whatever you're focused on here, and then you have this, and then boom, and then that's a whole nother level of stuff. And that takes a different kind of energy and a different kind of everything. And then and yet and yes, and then they grow up and they leave the little nest. And then whatever it was that was on hold or different or that you want, then that can come back, or I don't know, it's just, and I'm just really grateful that we have, God, this is not a tough sheet. It just isn't. I don't like it, but I'm not going to change it now. I'm just not. Oh, thanks. That's a
Yeah, I can help
brilliant
with the pillows.
yeah, that you can. That's perfect. And yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I suppose I could carry on, but why?
That's fair. So it sounds like your Kiwi hubby, had the idea for the hostel. Did you just find this like the first one you looked
Well,
at?
we
Was it a
kind of
search?
we were I mean, we were right across the street from it, and I was the one that said, "Hey, guess what? Atlantis is for lease," and so he pursued it, and so we leased it for a while, and then we were able to make a really, really good offer to buy it, and so we're almost, we're only a little bit away from owning this outright too, which is
Wow.
kind of cool. And oh, perfect. That's
Ah,
beautiful. So yeah, so that's kind of cool. Uh, and of course, he still wants to sail because he can't not. And we do have a boat stateside, actually, that we go and visit every once in a while, and go play on. And yeah, and now he's actually he retired himself, so so he's happy and doing and uh, making all these wonderful changes in his life too that he's thrilled about. And yeah, and you do, I mean, you kind of still keep growing, and you still keep having a lot of magic moments. We really do. I mean, we were never really married into the conventional, but appreciated that there was structure and the possibilities of the things that can happen, and taking advantage of them. And yeah, and the reason why we went sailing is because, of course, 9/11 happened, and that was the end of that was divorced from United.
Oh.
So right.
Yeah.
So after a year of head beat against wall, brick still hurt, sold the house, bought the boat, and sailed here.
Wait, what was he doing at United?
He was a mechanic, and he actually had a promotion. And we were looking at real money for the first time ever.
So I guess like with the whole 9/11 thing happening and the layoffs, and maybe it was like, why not just sail?
Yeah, that was basically it.
So I guess if your life gets turned upside down.
Down, you
Just
might
get a
as well you,
sailboat.
you might as well go way on, go down under.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's sort of what happened.
I think that's great advice, actually, because I think, you're right. The times are different, but they're always the same.
Yeah.
And there's something about the fact that I think a lot of people are going through big changes in life. They might be losing their jobs. They might be,
Yeah.
and just this idea of just get a sailboat.
Get a boat. It
Because it's
really
cheaper than a house. It's actually cheaper than a lot of options. People think it's impractical.
Nope, it's very practical, and there's a lot of things that are brilliant about boats. One is the less you have, the more you've got.
Mm.
That's one thing that's true. The other thing that's true is that everybody that we met, everybody, no matter where, no matter what, it was like being in a world of golden retrievers. I'm a dog, you're a dog. Let's go play. Everybody wanted to help everybody and be the Lone Ranger. So that was also cool. The other thing that was wonderful is that you get to go to places where only boats can go. And they're very happy to see you, and you are exceedingly happy to see them.
After a long time on the
well,
water.
yeah, and north of the equator, everything is basically a day sail away. But when you get to the South Pacific, it's like, oh, it's only a week. Let's just get started. And for us, the longest passage was from Mexico to the Marquesas Islands.
Wow.
And that was 32 days. We left a little late, and but it was wonderful. And the other thing about being on a boat is that you have an SSB radio. You are connected to the whole world, and there are incredibly devoted people around the planet who spend hours listening to that radio and helping cruisers who are in trouble. That's pretty amazing too. So that network is constant and phenomenal.
I feel like, a lot of us, and maybe not you, but I think a lot of people in my generation, actually, my parents' generation is, we're glued to our smartphones. And when we're on our smartphones, all we see is these stories about how bad the world is and how, this person's bad, this, good, us versus them. And it kind of makes you feel like the world's dangerous. I kind of get that from my parents a lot.
It's such an easy pot to stir. It really is. And it's something that I find really, that depresses me because it's not like that. And it isn't, but oh, how nice to make everyone feel like you're the only one who can save them or whatever. And
and what you're describing, I mean, the world just sounds like such a great place. And I've had that experience too, like even in places where I've told like, oh, people, they don't like your kind here. Like people have always more often than not been very generous and just happy to be around. And I love what you're describing about the sailboat community because
it really is. It's just wonderful like that. And yes, you don't really need a whole lot. And everybody says, well, what about pirates and what about weather and a lot? Have you read the papers? I mean, now on page 6 is a story about the little girl who was shot dead in a crossfire of a gang war, having dinner at her table. And I mean,
in which city was this?
It
doesn't matter.
Anywhere, it doesn't matter. It happens.
It can happen to you at home.
So what? And then the thing about being on the water is, sometimes big, evil, nasty storms come up. Of course they do. So you hove to. You just wait them out.
Yeah.
You just and basically what you do is you just sort of sit there and everything calms down, and you're safer in deep water than you are near land because that's when things get that's when you get reefed, and that's really not very nice. And the other thing too is that you can be pretty responsible for what is happening weather-wise, because God knows there's enough satellites out there, and everybody's got and these tech toys can be life-changing. Although the best story I ever heard was Bernard Monsier. He was one of there's a Vendée Globe race, and it's a single-handed sailors.
Oh yeah.
No,
Come
no,
on
no,
through.
you're
Yeah,
fine, you're
yeah.
fine. Come on through. The water's delicious.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was a single-handed sailor, and it was a race to get from England back to England, mostly in through the Roaring Forties. Anyway, he's between Stewart and South Island at this point now in a race, well and truly yet, and he went, I'm not going back to England. I'm going to Tahiti. But he hears this god-awful commotion outside of his boat. And he goes up the companionway, and there's a pod of about 150 dolphins. And the ones on the starboard side are moving out to the right, doing the flip and coming back. The ones on the port side are going poof, poof. And he looks around and he realizes that the wind had shifted, but so subtly he didn't feel it below. So he trims, and if he stayed on that course, he would have hit the reef. Game over.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he trims the sails, tacks to starboard. The entire pod does this massive yahoo, and they stayed with him for 6 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, the sweet miracles like that are not celebrated enough. They just aren't. And that happens with alarming frequency. And I read this really incredible book by a Kiwi doctor, actually, who did an outrigger canoe from Hawaii to Tahiti with using celestial nav. And the chief navigator said, among other things, when Christianity came to the islands, we could no longer talk to the animals. And they do talk. And they do. And that's something else that I think we're really missing out on. That real sweet connection with the whole world. And David Attenborough and what he does, and that wonderful thing that he did about how the trees talk to each other. I mean, we are not the Uber.
Yeah.
And how wonderful that we get to be a part of it all, and that we can talk about it, we can sing about it, we can make up stories about it, that we can communicate about it. We can. I don't know if maybe animals do that, but I don't know if they do it as much and as thoroughly and as profoundly as humans do. What a great thing to be a human being, to be able to do that. But that doesn't mean that's
just us.
That's just part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of the listeners, are usually kind of, we kind of consider ourselves like going through our own little like rock bottom moments.
Yeah.
And, we use that term very loosely because as far as I'm concerned, anyone who's on their phone too much is like going through some type of rock bottom.
Yeah,
I think, to unplug. So do you, when your kids are going through, or I don't know if they go through hard times, but,
Oh, they do. Oh, yes. Yeah.
If you're thinking about your younger self going through a hard time, what advice do you have?
Just get on with it. Pretend you're someone. Pretend. Part of what I think part of what works is that if you want to be like him, then that's who you are, and so you put yourself in the place of the person that you want to be, and then you become it. And it doesn't. And so if you don't dwell too much on your Michigan stuff, then you're in much better shape.
So you're saying to try to be like someone else, or?
Well, no, if only I could, and why, and this one, and that, whatever. Then if you tell yourself that you are that person, that you're that person, and you behave that way, and you walk that way, and or at least, or whatever, then you can become what it is that you've been wanting to be, because you can. Oh, good, he did. All right, that's good. Okay.
Well, it sounds
or something. I mean, I don't know. There's, and sometimes, yes, there are things that are physical that happen, and they have that that knock-on effect. And then there's the whole thing about, what you eat and what you exercise. Do you sit there in front of a computer? Do you go out for a walk? I mean, you can't expect to have everything great happen to you because you happen to be on the planet. You've got to participate in it.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like, if anything, you're an example of don't hold back. Just do what you want to do.
Wait, sorry, what? Sorry?
It sounds like you're a good example of just live your life. I mean, it seems like, I think of you, it seems like someone's just living life to the fullest and having a good time. And I mean, obviously, there's like the mundaneness of doing like the laundry and
yeah, I mean, so again, that's why I do call myself the Empress, because by golly. And the thing about domestic stuff, and the other thing that I do, though, and here's the other thing about this. You're a musician, all right? You're going to play in tune. You're a sports person. You're going to win that game no matter what. You're an engineer. Everything is going to be just perfect. That's what this is with a different accent. And that's the other part of my little thing that I give myself, is that this is very mundane, and it's not a celebrated aspect of being, of contributing to humanity, I suppose. But without having a clean, pretty world, nothing would happen at all.
Yeah.
So for me, this is the art that I can do with these tools.
Yeah. So the hostel is your art form.
Yeah.
It's your canvas.
Yes. It's the theater. It's
the art.
It's the orchestra. That's what this really truly is.
I love that.
And I think that makes all the difference in the world too. And that, yes, there are things that are done that are not very sexy.
I don't think any
fascinating.
career is fully sexy.
But everything is like that. If you're an artist, you're a pianist, you're going to have to do Hanon before, you have to warm up your finger. I mean, all of these things, they matter. They just do. And they might have more cachet about having something really superb about them, but that's the other part that I give myself to, is that it doesn't matter what it is. If you put it in the context of what you love, then it works. And then it takes you out of the for me mode and puts you into and gives it a giggle. There was one of the things that I do too. So that kitchen, of course, can become an absolute disgrace. I mean, Italy explodes all over the top of the stove with all the tomato sauce, and people leave things everywhere, and the floor is and I'm trying to go in there and clean. So I do a poem, I do a monologue, I do a song. I'm not actually doing the task. I'm just letting this be. I'm going to finish everything before I finish that song.
Yeah.
And there was one really magical time when, oh God, it was that kitchen. Oh, it was horrible. So I'm being, and everybody came to play, and they're dancing with the brooms and using the dish rags to mop the floor. I mean, nobody wanted it to end. It was just so much fun. Yeah. And if you give that twist to things that are more me, then you win.
Yeah.
And it just becomes this fabulous thing.
My last question is, for anyone who might be inspired to, I guess, start a hostel or maybe take over one, once they're done all their traveling and they're ready to settle down
Yep.
somewhere. What advice would you have about, I guess, looking for one? And,
Okay, so the fun part is the fun part.
yeah.
But what I wish I'd known is one, accounting,
Yeah.
and that you have to constantly be aware of the physical aspect of that place. That it has to always, and for here, I was at one hostel, we were at one hostel on the West Coast, and it was clear that the bus came, unloaded the protoplasm, and that was going to be basically it for the day. And we showed up. Well, oh my God, the place was a disaster. And then at 10 o'clock the next morning, the Army comes in and is going to clean that place up so it's ready for when the next Kiwi bus comes.
Yeah.
And it's all going to be clean and nice. And that's all they ever had to do. But here, because people are coming here at all these different times,
Yeah.
it has to always, it's always going to be their first time. First time. First time.
First impression, yeah.
I want those loos and showers to be, I want the kitchen to be clean. I want the floors to be walkable on. I want what you come into to look fresh and lovely and warm. And that takes a lot of real grit to do that. It just does, because I think that's really important. I think it is, and yeah. So those, and that it does take a lot to do beds, and the way that we do them here is different than anywhere else, obviously.
Yeah.
And that I really insist that everything look as sharp and fine and tuned, because that means that I'm thinking about you. And for everyone that comes in, they don't care how much work you've had to do everywhere. They're looking at their bed.
Yeah.
And that's really an important thing to keep in mind too, that balance of having that you can't let one just you have to care about each and every one of them, because each and every person that comes in is special. And yes, for some, a hostel's a hostel, but the other thing that's happening, of course, is that a lot of people of many ages are coming to hostels now.
Yeah.
And for me too, the paradigm has to be the people, the ones who are going to find fault with anything.
Yeah.
They're the ones I want. They're the ones I want to be astonished. And what I really love too, though, is that sometimes people come in and you can tell that they're just looking to make trouble.
Yeah.
And I love nothing more than getting them to laugh.
I love that.
It's really good.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's very fun.
Waving around in the window.
Oh yeah, it's been waving.
It's been.
Is there anything else you want to share with the world?
Oh, just be happy.
Be happy.
Why not? It beats the alternative.
Yeah, you're so right. Well, thank you so much for
No,
your time.
thank you too. Oh, this has been lovely, you sweet goldenrod thing.
Oh,
I'm
you.
really delighted that you took the time and trouble to do that, and I hope it'll work for you. I mean, and that it might be a happy little.
Well, thank
thing.
you. I just love your story, and I'm just so inspired by this beautiful place here. And you can just tell everyone who comes through is just happy, and it's just such a nice landing place.
Oh, that's well.
I think the world needs more places like this.
Oh, well, thanks. That's really lovely. That really is. and I hope that, and you'll keep finding places like,
Yeah.
they'll come to you too, because that's what and that's also part of it. That's what you are hoping to see. So you will, and or at least as much as possible, and I think that's really great too, because that's also part of it, is that, that's where you are, so that's what it will be, and a lot of the times. And if it's
Yeah.
not, then you can make it, then because that's what you'd like to have it be, you can often find a way to make that to have it happen. You know,
Yeah.
and that's pretty cool too. So yeah, it's pretty, it's actually pretty wonderful. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And I guess there's also work stay programs I saw like a sign for.
Hmm.
You want to plug that in at all, or?
Well, we do. We certainly do. I love to have elves. Find your inner elf and bring it here. Yes, and it would, and it's not forever. It's
It's like for short periods.
Yeah,
People on
yeah,
working holiday, right?
yeah, yeah. And it's always grand to have people who are really happy to do something in exchange for accommodation and whatever other perks that can happen, and find something out about themselves that they're surprised at.
Yeah.
And God knows the people that you meet in a in places like this are so wonderful too, because you're wonderful and that's who you're going to meet. So
Yeah.
that's always good too. Got a few marriages happen out of here too.
Wow, really?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
All right, you
And
darling thing.